岁月、环境、规则 ，LPL 在不断改变。6年中，有许多人问我，你为什么还在坚持？这局游戏对你究竟意味着什么？
全军出击！
我见过最美的风景，也听过最热烈的欢呼。为了所有这些，我愿意付出一切。
何来联盟？
这局游戏是一段旅途，有人中途停留，也有人会做到最后，而终点只不过是另一个起点。
50的血量，50的血量！
我不懂那么多是非曲折，这局游戏赢就对了。
이번 게임의 낭만은 0부터 100처럼 무명에서부터 이름을 날리는 것이다.
我从来都没有后悔过自己走过的路。这局游戏的魅力就在于创造奇迹。
많은 사람들이 전설을 보는 것에 열광하지만 다른 사람들이 그 뒤에서 흘리는 땀에 대해서는 잘 보지 못합니다. 하지만 이러한 땀이 없었다면 저희는 다시 이곳으로 돌아오지 못했을 겁니다.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
会变的是人和环境，不变的是游戏最后的胜利画面。
我明白，这场游戏就是成王败寇，但是不到最后，我不会放弃对王冠的追逐。
这局游戏需要牺牲，无私奉献，去成就团队的胜利。
他还需要领袖，不管遇到什么困难，都和同伴一起扛下去。
是我最喜欢的玩具。
LPL 需要年轻的力量，是时候让我们来接管比赛了。
想成为这场游戏的主角吗？打败我吧！我们的时代还远没有结束。
Hello and welcome everyone to week 2, day 1 of the LPL 2018 Spring Split. You can see that we're here in the heart of Shanghai, the LPL Battle Arena, as our team's ready for 2 best-of-3s back-to-back today. We've got Suning Gaming filing into their gaming rooms across from Rogue Warriors, and later on it'll be TOP versus JDG. SML's here on your screen right now, filling out those slots. And hello everyone, I'm your host, Indiana Frasker in Black, and I'm actually joined by the velvety tones, the luscious Brento Raz Muhammad. How you doing, Raz?
Oh, I've never had someone describe me as luscious before,
Luscious.
but I'll take it, I'll take it. I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
Yeah, and you had quite a busy day. Now, of course, this is the start of a brand new week, but we're actually coming off of a broadcast from yesterday. You were analyst desk, you were casting, you were all over the board, and you got to cast an incredible upset, Snake Gaming over EDG in their home away arena.
Yes, but I will say it was a shared cast. We both had that.
There was a tag team.
That's true. That was nice. That was nice. And it was nice to see the ending, of course, because there was some expectation of Snake coming out of week 1 with a 0-2 tagline to their win-loss record in Chongqing. But taking the win up against EDG, hearing the crowd just kind of shout out their name, I thought it was an incredible victory for Snake.
Yeah, that was the most probably unreal moment for me, is just hearing how loud that crowd was. Snake actually went on to say that they had never heard an audience behind them like that, so certainly feeling the emotion. But Snake, of course, are not our only teams that are sitting at the top of the standings. We'll go ahead and pull those on your screen right now. It's also the surprise, Billy Gaming making a surge to the top.
It's really interesting to see what's happening in week 1 of the LPL. Of course, Billy, new names in that respect, or at least new brand name, seeing them kind of rise to the top. JDG having that first real victory for themselves in the Eastern Conference. It's nice seeing how that rolls up, but there is a bit of familiarity with RNG at the top. Only really that because EDG and WE fell across in the Western Conference.
Yeah, it feels like in the Western Conference that everyone is just taking games off of everyone, whereas the Eastern Conference with RNG is a bit more seeded, and it's really about the strength of schedule, because we see IG down there 1-1, whereas Suning have risen to the top.
Yeah, that's what's really interesting. There were a lot of discussions, a lot of debates about which group was the hardest. Was it going to be the West or the East? West is the hardest because not only you have to go across EDG and WE, but also even the bottom tier teams in that respect are also just incredibly competitive.
So we see the teams. Let's go ahead and take a look at the players. Our best of the Rift. We've got Amazing J, MLXG, Athena, Crystal, and Ming. So no surprise, there's a lot of Billy Gaming members on that list after their incredible starting week 1.
Yeah, a lot of Billy, a lot of RNG. It just kind of showcases the strength of both those players and what they kind of gave their team. Amazing J. We saw the damage that he was able to take for death. That just means that he was a massive tank or just such a massive front line for his team in these team fights.
Yeah, incredible Camille performance in particular. Now MLXG, his stats popping up on your screen, and he shared the spotlight with Karsa for week 1.
Yeah, speaking of Camille, the man brought Camille jungle for God's sakes. That's just how strong the champion is. But you can see the jungle percentage. The man was all up in the enemy jungle time and time again, constantly tracking, and he didn't overdo it as well. It felt like when he found himself a little bit of a deficit in terms of the jungle CS, he was always kind of taking it back. He understood what his role was.
Yeah, and probably the biggest surprise for me was Athena's performance. The Sleeping Beauty finally woke back up, and it was the Prince and Azir boosting up those damage numbers. That is an incredibly high damage percentage, first in the league right now, but it makes sense. Late game Azir is going to give you those numbers.
100%. Those team fights meant so much for Billy Gaming. Even though he was getting constantly pressured by Melon and CA in the laning phase, he got out of it, and he was able to kind of spring like a butterfly.
And then there's Crystal as Snake actually making an appearance. They don't often make our best of the Rift because, unfortunately, they've usually been on the bottom of the standings. But after that upset...
Here's the thing about Crystal. They came out like 1-1. They didn't have a 2-0 victory like all of these guys over here, but he just output so much damage even in their loss. The man has been monstrous this week.
And then rounding out our best of the Rift, of course, it's Ming, #1 in initiations. If you haven't seen that incredible Reddit Alistar play, you're missing out. The prediction on the Calista Flash was sick.
So don't give the man Alistar. Just don't do it. He's been an Alistar god this week.
Okay, but those are our week 1 matches. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our matches today. Again, it's going to be Suning Gaming versus Rogue Warriors, and then TOP versus JDG. And Raz, when we sat down on this desk, you said TOP versus Jingdong was your excited matchup.
Yes, because it feels like TOP has to prove themselves. If not this week, the next week they have to get a win for themselves. They're 0-3 now, and you can't hide their old name, of course, by just giving them a new brand name of TOP. When they were in Dan Gaming, they were in a monstrous losing streak. They need to come out with a victory at some point in time.
And of course, we will be talking about them later on today. But let's go ahead and laser in on Rogue Warriors versus Suning, because I don't think a lot of people really expected this one to be weighted towards Suning. Is that honestly how you feel?
Yes, I do. Just because Suning Gaming, there's a lot of fresh faces, and that's kind of the stake of what's happening today. A lot of new faces, so you don't really know who Xiao Al is. You don't know who Knight is. Those two players are you're gonna be hearing a lot of them going out throughout the rest of the split because they're monsters.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and start with Xiao Al in the top lane. I know that EDG themselves were looking at trying to make a bidding war for Xiao Al. It was Suning that retained his contract, and it was really just incredible 5v5 team fighting that has brought this guy front and center.
Highlight after highlight after highlight. A lot of it was on Vladimir. He is a carry top laner that can just do a lot of damage, get a lot of strong positioning. It felt like every team fight, you can just assume that he's going to take a flank position at the right time. Real strong player in week 1.
So rank him. Where do you think that Xiao Al actually sits in the rank of top laners in LPL right now?
Oh, I thought it was a joke last split when the coach said that he was a top 3 top laner in the split. Now, just based off week 1, I'm willing to just echo that statement. I'll say top 3. We need to see more, obviously, from the rest of the top lane crew, but currently I have him pretty high.
That is the Raz seal of approval there. Top 3 from Xiao Al. And I believe it wasn't just the coach, it was also the player himself saying that in an interview. Obviously, a ton of confidence, knowing that he is a potential superstar.
Yeah, there was a lot of people talking up Xiao Al last year, I suppose. And a lot of questions were, is that real? Like, how come we don't see it? How is it not happening? He's picking a lot of jacks, but they still have a lot of losses at the end of it. Exactly. And a lot of it does come towards how the team plays, right? Because if you don't have a strong mid lane, and that's been a major weakness, of course, of Suning in the previous splits, and if your jungle position is not exactly hammered down, then your top's going to suffer. It seems like that's been hammered out, and going into week 2, seems like we might be seeing a lot of duo, trio, a lot of dives happening in the top lane in favor of Xiao Al.
So I'm going to put you on the spot then, Raz. Is Xiao Al the key to success? Because it feels like you are waiting towards Suning in this best of series. When, if we look across at Rogue Warriors, this is supposed to be the Chinese super team.
Yes.
You've got Doinby, you have SMLZ, you then have Flawless Mouse. These are very well-established names. So why does Suning have the edge?
I would say it's because a lot of people want to give it to the super team of course, Rogue Warriors, just because a lot of name branding, the value of the names, they have the experience themselves. When you hear a Mouse, when you hear a Doinby, it's because they've done great things before.
MVP of Spring, Doinby.
Exactly. But then when you look across the Suning, the stats aren't necessarily there unless if you look into the LSPL of Night. And the stats are not necessarily there for Xiao Al unless if you're like, oh, from the limited stats of last split. But they've been putting up values, and I would have to say that lane to lane for both mid and top lane, that I would wait it to Suning. I can see your face. I hear it.
Because I want you on the record, Raz. You're saying that lane for lane, talent for talent, Suning are better than Rogue Warriors.
I'll say that. Just the only question, of course, is going to be in the bottom lane, just because Rogue Warriors has SMLZ and Killua, and I think that bottom lane is going to be pretty strong in both regards. But that's just a boring lane because both of them are just going to be running hyper carry, target, and embrace. But the top side of the map, I'll say Xiao Al has been strong and versatile in what champions he can pick, and we've had a lot of criticism historically for Mouse in that regard. And then you go towards the middle lane position, and we've been seeing a lot of supportive picks, so we don't really see strength in terms of laning phase when it comes to Doinby, just how his team fights play out. And Knight can play so much. He's already been through LeBlanc, Kassadin even, and he's had a lot of strong performances on the board.
I'm hearing a lot of the Kassadins, the old problems of Suning. So then my question is when you wear egg on your face and Rogue Warriors, if they take the series, what happened? How do Rogue Warriors then best Suning?
Just through the team fighting, it would have to be just based off that cause, because one of the biggest criticisms that I would have of Rogue Warriors is that they would just hard commit to team fights in the mid to late game position.
So who's making the mistakes there?
I would say it's a shared mistake because they're all going for that call. There's no real worry about what's happening in the bottom side wave. There's no real wave control when it comes to it. They just hard flock towards Baron, hard flock towards these top lane like team fights rather than thinking about, well, the slow process of the game. It's just skirmish, skirmish, fight, fight, fight. So I would just say whoever the shot caller is, I'm about to find out soon enough. I'm going to blame them.
Okay, so we'll keep our eyes on that one for the shot calling. Back to the overarching scheme, though, because we've talked a lot about Knight, and I feel like you're kind of overlooking Doinby a little bit as we have them on the screen right there. Like, Doinby has showcased the Karma, the Lulu. Knight hasn't expanded his champion pool. Do you think there's any sort of champions that one of these teams will leverage over the other? Because we haven't seen the most typical meta stuff coming out of them.
I'll go straight towards the jungle position because Lee Sin has been a very key jungler in the LPL, especially for these two teams. The funniest thing is that when you look towards Suning, they have two junglers. Tien, who they'll be playing today, and of course they have Hacker. Both of them are Lee Sin players, so I wonder how the priority comes towards both these teams.
And of course we've got the lineups on your screen. It's Mouse in the top lane, Flawless in the jungle, Doinby in the mid lane, SMLZ and Killua in ADC and support. And of course Killua being the newest face to this Chinese super team, if you will.
And of course both these teams, Knight and Killua, know each other from Young Miracle, so there's a lot of brothership there.
And on the other side, it's Xiao Al, Little Al in the top lane, Tien, Knight, Fury, and Yoon. And the thing is Raz is saying that Xiao Al is the new carrier of this team, when formerly it used to be Fury and Yoon.
Yeah, which is really interesting to see the share, or at least the push of responsibility towards the top side of the map. And I think that's going to work really well for this meta specifically, just because Fury loves his Kog'Maws, and he's going to be pretty at home with these hyper carries. So he only really wants to worry about the 20-minute mark and forward.
That's actually a really interesting point, Raz. This idea that Suning are almost insulated by the meta because they can carry from the bottom, they can carry from the top.
Yes. So that's going to be really nice to see how both of those lanes really fare, going up against like Mouse, going up against the bottom lane of SMLZ and Killua. I think what's going to be a key difference between both of these teams is going to be towards the top lane. I know we hyped up Xiao Al quite a bit, but Xiao Al versus Mouse, we need to see something out of Mouse. We need to see him either attracting a lot of attention and not dying, or maybe the carry picks that he's been kind of playing when he was on EDG, like the Jace picks. He can do it, but I'm not too sure about it today.
Well, you've heard us talk enough about Xiao. Now we're going to go ahead and hear from Mouse himself and send it over to the casters.
Hello everyone, I'm Matt Fisher. Joining me is Zach Russipine. You heard it right there. Not only from Doinby, but Mouse as well. Mouse feeling like he doesn't have to play tanks anymore. And also Doinby saying if Mouse plays well, we're going to win.
Yep, the chains are off for Mouse. The opportunity's there for him to carry. He's got the Alawi as well. He's been playing some carries up in that top lane, and that's something we've always wanted to see from Mouse. And for Rogue Warriors, Doinby said it, you're right. Maybe that is the key to their success as well. Not just Xiaowel for Suning Gaming, but Mouse for Rogue Warriors.
Well, let's see if Mouse has been fully unlocked coming into the first match of today. Rogue Warriors taking on Suning Gaming. What are the stakes here, Rusty? Because these two teams, off the first week of the LPL, have looked promising.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors are a team that have a whole lot of hype behind them from just the roster individually, but we haven't seen a lot of team play coming out of them successfully just yet. So what you're looking at here is Suning Gaming have started 2-0. Rogue Warriors are currently 1-1. For Suning, they need to get the wins now, the first time they play against Rogue Warriors. The reason for that is there's always the concern, that lingering worry that maybe Rogue Warriors get it. They actually click, they find each other, they find that teamwork, and then they're a completely indomitable force running around in the LPL. You get that head-to-head, it helps so much with the standings implications later on.
Because they have some household names in their team. SMLZ, Doinby, Mouse. Many people have heard of these players. Then you see the likes of Flawless come in with his Lee Sin looking really good to kickstart the LPL.
Yeah.
Kahlua hasn't been doing too bad as well in the bottom lane as a support. Whereas for the side of Suning Gaming, we've already heard it from the desk. Raz said that Fury and Yoon used to be the carriers of this team. Now Xiao Ao definitely one of the players to watch.
Yeah, Fury and Yoon have also been super good at rotating around the map and playing defensively if need be. They're very good at playing the Tahm Kench style of play. Now, I don't expect anyone to get Tahm Kench currently. That's how strong of a champion he is. But that style of play, that fragrance that you see from the bottom lane of Suning, can be translated to having Xiaowel carry. And I do agree with the desk. I think that the meta has insulated their strengths a little bit more. Xiaowel has always looked like a good top laner, and now it's his time to shine.
Let's see if this game is his time to shine as we head into Champion Select for game number 1 between Rogue Warriors and Suning Gaming. Sejuani, Kog'Maw, and Ryze, the first 3 bans that come out from Suning Gaming, whereas we have Zoe, Vladimir, and the man that you predicted to be on the bench, Tahm Kench.
Tahm Kench has to hit that bench. Vladimir also gone from Xiaowel. He's played it 3 times so far in the LPL in his 5 games, so not a surprise to see it removed given how well he's been playing with it. You saw the highlights earlier.
And is Kog'Maw just an SMLZ ban here? We know it's a hyper carry. We know it's played in the LCK, but he is known for that champion.
He's definitely a hyper carry player, and Kog'Maw is one of his signature picks.
Well, Rogue Warriors do lock in Malzahar as one of their first picks. This is the champion that we commonly see banned during the first rotation of bans, instantly picked up for Doinby.
And it does feel really dependent on the team as to if Malzahar is a super high priority. Yesterday he was getting last picked, he even skipped through an entire pick ban phase untouched. It looks like Doinby's got a higher preference on that, and it makes a lot of sense with Doinby's playstyle being so roam-centric.
Yeah, it seems like Suning Gaming more afraid of the Ryze, which is one of Doinby's well-known picks in the mid lane. They banned that out first, taking away Sejuani from Flawless as well. Their first 2 picks are going to be Ezreal as well as Alistar. Most likely Fury and Yoon's champions in the bottom lane.
Now, it should be the bottom lane for the team. Ezreal has very rarely been seen in the jungle. And speaking of bottom lanes, Fish, Rogue Warriors have decided to match it before we get to the second ban phase.
Kalista as well as Braum being locked in for the bottom lane of SMLZ and Kahlua, as well as Corki being picked up here for Suning Gaming in the mid lane.
Super early pick of the Corki. I don't think Corki's a bad matchup by any means into the Malzahar. You're lacking in the crowd control department, but super safe character, can build a Hex Drinker if he's losing lane and he really needs to go defensively. Has got push as well, so can match the roam that Doinby will have on that on the Malzahar. Doesn't necessarily need the teleport either. He can go towards exhaust for lane pressure and just get the package every 5 minutes after the 8-minute mark.
They also already have the Ezreal picked up, so Ezreal and Corki working well together to provide some poke for the team whenever they decide to siege up on these turrets. Now, in the second ban phase for these 2 teams, Camille hits the bench. This is the champion that we saw commonly banned during the first week in the first ban rotation, and Nidalee being banned out here against Flawless.
I would say a ban of necessity, Camille, and I am a little bit surprised that we didn't see it locked in at all in the first pick phase for either of these teams, but not wanting to show their hand in the top lane just yet. Xiaowel and Suning Gaming being on Red's side may look towards the counter pick for just him, as the only solo lane left, so that makes a lot of sense. And Rogue Warriors don't want to show it too early, and they want to actually be able to perhaps ban some champs away from Suning.
We have Gangplank, the final ban coming in from Suning Gaming before they get their first pick in the second rotation. Ornn still left up and available as a top lane pick for either of these 2 players. And Jarvan is the final ban that comes out from Rogue Warriors.
There is a Kha'Zix as a possibility for pick in the jungle position, as is the Lee Sin that Raz was mentioning on the desk for Tien. If he wants to play that, Flawless can answer with a very similar champion of his own, and it does feel like between these guys, we're going to have a carry-off in the jungle. There is a chance, however, knowing Suning Gaming, that they do something a bit different.
Let's see what their first pick is going to be. Hovering over the Zac, quickly changing over towards Na, locked in for Xiao Ao in the top lane.
Meaning they give their jungler their last pick here. Xiao Ao has priority, wants to pick the Na, mostly as a denial for a Mouse as well as just a strong champion that has an overall good laning phase. Nothing really counters the Na. There are some that do well into it, but the direct counter still means that Na will pretty much just survive if he plays well.
Which does mean Ornn is left open and locked in for Mouse, top side of the map. Ornn, one of those champions that just has a strong laning phase regardless and should be fine up into Xiao Ao's Na. The final pick for Rogue Warriors will be their jungler of choice. Flawless has picked up that Lisa, and you mentioned the Kha'Zix is available as well, and it will be the Kha'Zix that Rogue Warriors go towards.
Yeah, Malzahar, Kalista, Braum, and Ornn provide a whole host of crowd controls, so the jungler doesn't feel the necessity to have crowd control of his own. It means it can be the R-Max Kha'Zix running around the jungle and providing a lot of damage early game for the rest of his team as they start to scale. I like the Rogue Warriors team composition when you look at how they get from early game to late game and who carries and has the roles and responsibilities throughout all of that. But it does feel like that damage would start to drop off against the composition that Suning Gaming have got.
And Suning Gaming's final pick was Zac. Tan will be picking up that champion. We've seen it played in the LPL already in week 1. Not to fantastic success. In fact, it looked like Bilibili Gaming, when they picked up the champion, were not proactive with it at all. Let's see if Suning can do the opposite and actually make some plays with the champion. But you're talking about Rogue Warriors team composition, how they have that good synergy from early game to late game. How exactly do they bridge that gap, Rusty?
Well, that's where the Kha'Zix does come into play. You can rush lethality, you can go for the R-Max first, you can invade in the jungle, and you can try and find Tien, in this case, as the Zac, and be aggressive, even from level 2 if you would like, go towards his buffs. Zac is a very exploitable champion when it comes to the early jungle clear with how slow he does it, and the fact that he wants to prioritize the big camps. If he goes for the Raptors, he may actually die at the Reds. So it's super important for the early game for Suning Gaming that they have the proper vision in place to prevent any kind of invades from happening. Otherwise, that early game's there from Kha'Zix, that mid game's there from Kalista with 1 item, Malzahar's always relevant from 6, and Ornn, especially if he gets ahead, unstoppable.
Well, seems like Rogue Warriors have a well-rounded team composition heading into game number 1. Suning, almost equally so. You know, you've got Ezreal, Corki, two good poke champions. You've got the Alistar, you've got the Zac, the 2 beefy frontliners. Then the Na is a little bit in between.
You'd call it a kind of poke composition, Ezreal and Corki. I feel like the big reliance here for Suning is getting the Corki ahead so that he does have a lot of relevant damage. Otherwise, I feel like the damage would start to drop off just a little bit. Granted, there's 3 carries on that roster. The Ezreal will start to do a whole host of work, but he has to stack the tier. Corki has to get the Trinity Force, and Na has to get the Black Cleaver. That's a long time to wait against an early aggressive comp the Rogue Warriors could have. I respect you.
Still some diehard fans here in the audience today. Monday, 5 o'clock, Rusty, and people are still flocking in to watch these 2 teams play live from the Super Brand Mall where the LPL Arena is in Shanghai.
Yeah, credit to them all for being here at all. It's a very difficult time to find yourself at a venue and ready. And now we're onto the Riftfish. There is something that immediately comes to my attention that we need to look at, and that is the 2 minion dematerializers in the bottom lane for Suning. And yes, there is one in the top lane for Ornn. I can see you pointing that one out, but Yoon has it. It's like he's too afraid to step up to the minions, and he wants to use it on the cannon so that Fury can't have it, and he gets the relic stacks. It is a double relic bottom lane, so it's not the worst choice, yet I always find myself wondering, like, what does a support gain by getting 4+% extra damage to minions? And is the Alistar just going to walk up, max pulverize, and try and help the Ezreal have wave clear? Is that his greater purpose? Doesn't feel right or sit right with me. I think it just means that he knows he's going to lose lane so hard, and he still wants to get that extra gold by guaranteeing himself cannons.
Well, let's see what Yoon can do in the bottom lane. He is running the Unsealed Spellbook once again, which we've seen many Alistars do since Ming picks it up in the LPL for RNG. Top side of map, you already mentioned, Mouse has picked up his own Unsealed Spellbook, starting with Ignite to kick things off. He also has that minion dematerializer.
He does, and being an Ornn, of course, being a tank in the top lane, Maokai is one of the other champions that will go for that, is to help clear the cannons as well. So you can clear the rest of the minions very successfully. Maokai with his Q, Ornn with every single spell that he has also clears them, so gets rid of the cannon, can control lanes, and this is a kind of matchup thing where you're against the Na who will push you in. It helps you deal with the wave clear and try and match it if he wants to push and disappear.
you can only see very early into the match. Mid lane, Corki has a good push in onto the Malzahar. Flawless hits level 3 nice and early, moves straight over towards Scuttle Crab, whereas Tien still farming through his jungle. He went blues to wolves, now on his raptors, taking some time with that. Mouse, however, doing fine top side of map. Minion Dematerializer used already, and still more trading in the mid lane between these two.
And a near full clear for the junglers, except for the Gromp and the Scuttle on the bottom side of Sunin. Flawless actually gets priority on the top lane, Scuttle Crab himself, and shifts up his clear as well, but he didn't go for invade, no aggressive vision to be placed down, just a much more standard full clear to be seen from both of them. That's one of those things, did he just...
Yep, he just rubber hand the Krugs over the wall.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's not going to be clearing that one out, but does make his way towards top side of the map. Still staying on this top side as Zorn is pushed in. Mid lane though, Knight heavily keeping Doinby under heavy pressure in this mid lane, making sure he's forced to farm underneath his own turret.
One of the best ways to play the Corki, of course. He swapped towards the teleport. He decided that instead of the exhaust for kill pressure in the lane, he wants to push in, expend his health as a resource to keep Doinby under the ropes and then come back with the teleport. He can also use the package much more aggressively in side lanes and not feel like it's too big of a risk in situations like this now. It does mean that without the exhaust, if Kha'Zix appears in the middle lane, there is a higher chance that he will die, however.
And Fleet Footwork was the mastery picked up by Knight, so not going to see any teleports come out from an unsealed spellbook. Bottom lane, SMLZ and Kahlua were able to push in early, but now Fury as well as Yoon are pushing back quite aggressively, but Flawless is waiting in the wings.
Flawless has been spotted, and instead of running straight in, even though the gank was possibly there, he does show the bit of respect and a bit more caution, and doesn't choose to take the gank as Tian mid.
Goes straight in, knocks out Doinby. He uses the heal, but gets a good knockback onto the minions. Doinby low, force to flash away. Knight does not follow through a flash of his own, but Doinby using both summoner spells.
It's still a massive win for Sunin Gaming. Tian actually finds that gank early. Flawless has to come in here mid just to collect the minions. If nothing else, the experience is what he's going to gain for himself. Pretty much nothing available for Doinby. Both summoners gone. Big win for Sunin.
Yeah, Knight's going to have a good advantage from that. You can already see 1 level up as well as 10 CS. Tien going to try and use this time to get some counter jungling going with his mid laner present. But Flawless actually takes way too many of those small raptors.
The kind of presence of bringing Corki about is just because he has the teleport and they want to deny all of it from Flawless, regardless of who gets it from Sunin Gaming. They were sharing experience in the middle lane anyway, so ultimately trying to push that pressure of bringing Flawless mid and Doinby to base, accentuate it, get a little bit extra for themselves. Flawless, though, knowing this fact, knowing full well that Zack's half health and Knight has no mana, just walks into their jungle instead.
We'll stop Knight from going back to base. Meanwhile, bottom lane, SMLZ in some trouble. Yoon can't get the stun onto the carry, but Fury goes forward. He picks up first blood onto Kalista, gets some extra damage onto Kahlua while he's at it.
Super clean from Fury. He's also got 4 sacks of gold in his inventory as well, so a whole lot of money there for the Ezreal of Sunin Gaming, and big moves early on in the game, and just the 2v2 kill.
Flawless is relentless. Tien and Knight have not gone back to base. Doinby is here. Tien in trouble. That's going to pop his passive, force the flash over the wall, but Knight following through, trying to get good damage onto Flawless. He flashes away, gets over to the blast cone. Doinby and Knight go at it. There's a lot of voidlings here. Knight's trying to cut this one back. Is there enough damage? He gets a small heal there. Still running away to Silence Field. Barely there, but Knight lives with a sliver of health.
The silence isn't going to get him, and Tien also just trying to pressure in this middle lane now. Corki has the teleport, so at the end of the day, Doinby also has to go back to base one more time and perhaps reset his mana pool. And the end result of the trade was also just fairly equal, realistically. And the passive gone from Zack. Bottom lane, of course, Fury has the flash and the E available to get the kill after he uses the heal to get some distance closed. Well done from Fury. Very difficult thing to predict from the side of Rogue Warriors, and dodge that at all.
He's able to not only weave in the Mystic shots through the minion wave, but good job from Yoon, gets the double knock up to start that. Moving back into the mid lane though, Knight had a nice advantage there, but capitalized by Flawless, but it's just been a bit of a brawl in this mid lane so far.
And a random piece of information for those watching as well that will make a bit more sense for the state of the bottom lane. If you see a minion dematerializer for the support and he hasn't actually gone towards the magical footwear, which they often want to have because it's free boots, he may rush Mobies because he wants to get boots earlier than the 10-minute mark. You can't buy them before that point. And he's got them now as Flawless is in the mid lane.
Goes for a gank. There's that level 6 from Doinby. Knight is in trouble. Forced the Valkyrie and flash away. Now very low on health.
Again, so much pressure, but not a lot of kills. It's 0-1 on the scoreboard. But everyone's being forced back. Everyone in the middle lane in the jungle is trying to pressure each other and push each other further and further behind. But their CS values are still relatively high because the timing has been okay on the recalls. They both have teleport. The real winner is Flawless. He's got an experience advantage at 6-5. Tian's now helping push the mid lane, and he's going to tick the 6 himself. And once again, at this point, now that Tian's come mid, pretty much back to equal besides the gold.
He's got a big CS advantage as well, as you mentioned, experience as well as gold. You see in the mid lane, Doinby using that unsealed spellbook to change to teleport to get back into the mid lane a bit quicker. And that bottom lane, you can already see, as you mentioned, Yoon was able to rush those Moby boots before 7 minutes in this match. So he will be able to roam around and move pretty quickly on this Alistar.
Feeling very good about himself by having those boots. It also helps for engagements in lane if you have control. The new runes do make Alistar super tanky, regardless of if he rushes mobility boots, where usually he would be quite susceptible to being engaged on by a Braum and a Kalista. And now that he's level 6 as well, even harder to take him apart. Yoon, also running Unsealed Spellbook, has chosen to stick with the Ignite for the moment to continue that added lane pressure on the Kalista running over hill. Hasn't gone for a teleport or for a ghost just yet.
Knight will pick up his first package as well as blue buff of the game. And I know that Rogue Warriors, they've played a few matches so far, 4 matches in the LPL, or 4 games I should say. And the 2 games they lost, Rusty, were games where Rogue Warriors did not have any early game tempo. Now 1,000 gold behind Suning. What do Rogue Warriors need to do here?
See, the gold doesn't actually reflect the amount of control that they have around the Rift as well. This is a dangerous time given the package that Corki has got, and that their bottom lane did get 2v2'd. But we also said that Flawless is a key factor to their success, and his invades have been successful, albeit super aggressive. It hasn't put him behind. He's got the slight gold advantage, and now he's able to steal away a red buff. So Flawless, he's doing his work to compensate for any points where they would be behind in tempo or losing on the map. He's trying to help quite a bit, and Mouse is also doing well in the top lane.
Let's see if they can get that tempo through the mid lane. Knight takes quite a bit of damage from Flawless.
Every time, half health.
Top side of map, Xiao and Mouse going at it in the top lane. There's the ultimate coming out from On. He's low on mana, redirects it the wrong way.
Yeah, you take that horn.
Relentless in pressure, forcing Mouse back to base.
I don't know if the kill was going to be there regardless. I feel like Xiao was not even slightly afraid of the horn. Mouse just completely whiffs it and walks away anyway. So we get a reset. That was the Gnar ultimate actually used as well at the start of that fight.
Meanwhile, Flawless looking to try and make a play on the bottom side of the map. Does go invisible, was spotted out by a ward though. And Mouse uses his teleport to get back into the top side of the map. SMLZ marching forward, does have Flawless here. Kalila will step up to the plate as well.
I think SMLZ accidentally hit the wrong target there as well. The Braum passive was gone from Yoon where they might have been looking for the stun. A lot of pressure being applied on the bottom side just by Kha'Zix's presence, alleviating a lot of that pressure that was placed onto SMLZ and Kahlua in the bottom lane 2v2. The CS is pretty much equal between them as well, the kill aside. It's just that Fury is a mighty large Ezreal, though the extra Klepto gold that he has been receiving.
Taking stock of things 10 minutes into the match, fairly even between Rogue Warriors and Sinnoh Gaming. Sinnoh Gaming have a slight gold lead of just under 1,000. And some curious items have been picked up, mostly in the mid lane. Knight going for the very early QSS against Doinby's Malzahar.
Well, look, when a Kha'Zix has been mid lane 6 times before level 6, you may want to rush that, just knowing that the second Doinby has his ultimate, he's probably coming back. In an educated guess, he may come back mid lane about 6 more times. So the super safe route here in itemization, we have seen this from some mid laners against Malzahar. You'll need the QSS eventually. Why not just rush it?
He does have a Sheen to back him up with some damage. Meanwhile, Yoon as well as Tian looking to see if they can duo a dragon, as Xiao Ao being very safe on the top side of the map, as Kha'Zix and Malzahar both went missing from the map.
It's the least impactful duo to ever touch a Drake in your entire life. Corki's now come over to contribute, so it will speed up the process of this Drake being done. And that 3-man pressure on the top side, Doinby got rid of his teleport for Ghost as well. So if they want, Sinnoh Gaming could all in on the bottom side.
We'd already mentioned Rogue Warriors rely quite a bit, or have relied quite a bit on tempo to get the game going, but good response coming out from Sinnoh. They get a dragon, and they do take down the second turret of the match.
About 5 seconds behind, but it was the first turret gold for Rogue Warriors on the top side. It was shared gold, however, as they tried to rush it down. No individual member picks up a crazy amount of more gold. Okay. Xiao was trying to stop recalls by doing that, for the record.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
He was throwing it backwards so that it looked like he completely whiffed it. It's cute.
And Xiao is one of the players that we've talked about on the desk. We talked about it when we opened up this cast. He is somebody to watch, not only in his fancy and flashy plays, but also just then being very safe, making sure he was away from his outer turret, backing off so that he didn't fall to the three-man combo.
That's the interesting part of this game so far. Xiaowel, yes, he was safe and he doesn't die. The bottom lane, the exact same thing. No one goes down there. When the trade was made from their respective opponents, the real victory was that the Drake was given over to Sinning Gaming as well as the turret, and that was a Mountain Drake. So that will help amplify any further objectives and structures they want to take down. But the gold gets to equalize a bit more from RW, and you call that a win on their part as well, as to what they need to achieve in this game to stay in it.
And the added pressure we've seen from Flawless in the mid lane, helping out Doinby, has allowed Doinby to chip away at that mid lane outer turret. So although Rogue Warriors very slightly behind, do have some good pressure on the mid lane.
They certainly do. As they try and push around this middle lane as well, you look back towards the junglers, and Zach, you just saw Tian in the river, looking for an opportunity to gank. Of course, he was spotted by a ward, but he hasn't stopped hunting in the area as he constantly tries to look. Now, Doinby is currently a decent target to aim for. You want to get the stopwatch from him, though, first. You don't want to all in for a kill unless you guarantee yourself able to get it. Bringing the bottom lane's a good way to do it.
Well, Ten's able to get behind Doinby, but whiffs the Q. Yoon is waiting in the wings. Well, he flashes in with the pulverized headbutt. Doinby popping his own stopwatch. Killua jumps in, but he gets delivered into the back lines by the Zac. Ultimate coming out from Malzahar, instantly QSS by the Knight, who uses it on the Corki as Ornn jumps into the mid lane as well. Yoon in trouble. Going back in. Does lock down Doinby. Good damage. He's the first to fall in the fight. Second stopwatch being used by Mouse. He tries to charge away, but Fury picks up that kill. Knight even going further forward, and it's Suning Gaming to get the 2 kills.
Suning get the clean 2 kills. No trade available from Rogue Warriors, and they teleported in. They tried to be proactive in response to the engage of the Zac. Now they are made pay for it. The next turret goes down. The middle lane outer turret as well. Super crucial stuff here from Suning so far.
They can continue pushing this one through, making sure it gets denied by the turret in the inner side of the mid lane. Already Flawless trying to wrap around, getting to the backside of this map. Yoon in some trouble. Flawless is invisible on top of Tan, goes for Knight instead. Killua tries to jump forward, just forces the Valkyrie out of Corki in the end.
Flawless is being an absolute menace at the moment. We'll get to watch the replay again. Doinby uses both summoner spells to get out, sees Yoon, and doesn't reactively use the stopwatch either when the combo came about, uses it afterwards. Now, he's a lucky man that he wasn't inside that Zac ultimate, but the QSS from Knight's enough to disengage. From this point, you're done. Rogue Warriors don't need to keep going forwards. Alistar has ultimate. Qian gets a 3-man knock-up, smacks them together with his bloblets, and they just die for completely overextending. And the reason for it is there isn't one. They just thought they could do something and they couldn't.
Suning get 2 kills as well as the mid lane outer turret for their troubles. Rogue Warriors with Flawless stopping the recalls coming out from Suning nice and early, give them some time to pick up Rift Herald. That's going to be picked up by Flawless himself. Knight does have another package for himself.
Was making the best of a bad situation there from Rogue Warriors to actually pick themselves up that Herald and stop those recall times. Of course, the Kha'Zix is a giant nuisance when he's leveled up his R first. He's invisible running around in the river or the jungle.
So this has given Suning close to 3,000 gold of an advantage over Rogue Warriors.
Synergy.
So they work to get it clear out a couple of wards there. Xiaowao still split pushing on the top side of the map, doing fine against Mouse. Whereas going for the Iceborne Gauntlet first, which we see most Ornns pick up as early as they can.
I always wonder what supports are thinking in situations where they're 1v1 in a mid lane. It took Yoon a few seconds there to be like, hang on, what am I doing in this lane? I should probably leave and place vision and help my team achieve something. He was just trying to see if he could find someone from the other team. If they were going to push that lane, then they can rotate quicker. And if he doesn't see them, he actually has Moby Boots, so he'll be able to be the first person to arrive at another venue. Herald placed in the bottom lane, and Tian wants to engage if they consider using the Herald. Bit of a waste.
Gets a charge in, will knock down the bottom lane outer turret to about half health, but Suning very quick to react to the pressure coming out from Rogue Warriors in the bottom lane.
You'll take the damage if you're Rogue Warriors, but it feels really rough that they don't pick themselves up a structure from having the Herald. The mid lane outer turret would have been a much easier option for them to achieve that Herald in the first place, just because it is so far poked down. But instead, they choose to take, I'm going to say, a more risky route of getting both low. The opportunity is there to get both structures if they win a team fight now, but they need to win that fight.
Tian looking to see if he can clear out a couple of wards, looking to charge up as well. Flawless going to join this fight. defending his teammates. Good silence coming out from Doinby, but Suning still push in towards Rogue Warriors' red side of the jungle. Both split up now.
Doinby, no blue buff, running a little bit low on the mana there. If you start hitting champions, he's most likely going to run out of it.
And it's 10 seconds to an Infernal Drake, so both teams trying to group up around this objective and seize control. As again, more poke coming out from Ezreal. Flawless has found Tien, though, gets on top of him, but it's going to be Tien that jumps into the backlines. Instantly locked down by Doinby. He's forced to flash away as Tien uses his own stopwatch. Big Gnar coming out from Xiao Ao, and Knight follows through with the damage to pick up the back half of this team fight. Flawless trying to do what he can, but it's just not enough. SMLZ falls. That's 3 kills to Suning.
The tanks are so far ahead. There's too many tanks, and there's too much wombo from the team composition of Suning Gaming. They just walk at Rogue Warriors. The Zac gets the elastic slingshot, and Flawless, he can't kill anyone.
Well, he's stuck now. Fury as well as Yoon have found him, picking up the 4th kill of that prolonged team fight. Mouse trying to jump away. Xiao Ao almost gets enough damage down, but he gets out of time with the teleport. Big play coming out from Suning.
Yeah, Mouse will be able to survive in the end. The teleport was gone, as you mentioned, and a very delayed death of Flawless makes sure that the Infernal Drake is completely free and completely theirs. Knight is also pushing in the top lane as we speak and is going to get a lot of pressure with the Sheen onto this outer turret. He won't get it with this wave, but the next one's just about to crash. We get to see this again, and Tian goes in. It's good, instant ult. You'll take that. But it's more so the Alistar that comes in immediately afterwards, gets the combo with the Mega Gnar specifically, and there is nothing they can do. A flash pulverized, Xiao Ao comes up huge. And from this point, Flawless has realized that he and Mouse have made a big mistake.
And that mistake has costed them not only a 5,000 goal lead for Suning, it's 7-0 in kills. Infernal Dragon taken down. And top lane outer turret now incredibly low. Suning just lining it up to be taken down later on. And really, Raz hit it on the desk. Fury and Yoon used to be carry players for the team. In this match, they picked up a 2-on-2 kill in the bottom lane. Xiao Ao's a player to watch, and that team fight kind of showed why. But for Rogue Warriors, who are we really looking for? Because SMLC and Kahlua didn't have the best laning phase. Mouse, you know, he was inactive top side of map for most of this game. Flawless and Doinby were so pracked to the mid lane, but barely got anything out of it.
I mean, look, philosophically, it's not exactly like SMLZ to lose lane in the way that they did. I don't know if he's too adept at playing with Kahlua yet. And if you don't know SMLZ as a player, he doesn't speak. He doesn't have emotions or react. So it's actually very hard to understand him and how he's going to work as Suning going forwards.
Forcing another team fight. Tien does not get anyone with his ultimate, but Doinby falls straight away to the Corki. Another big Gnar in the backlines. He flashes to get the triple stun into the wall. Suning are wiping the floor with Rogue Warriors. There's just nothing we can do. Quadra kill going to Knight.
And straight at the Baron Pit as well. The perfect position for a fight to happen. Rogue Warriors are hitting their spells, they're hitting their combos, but they're just too far behind to have any semblance of a fight. There is no opportunity for them. Baron's free, top lane outer turret will now go down, and Knights immediately move towards the middle lane. I'm pretty sure it's just bedtime for Rogue Warriors, and we're in game 1 of a best of 3.
It's looking just like that. It's almost a perfect game for them if it was not for the top embodied turret trade. Here's that fight that was forced by Suning.
Yeah, once again, the Zac doesn't get the engage, but he forces Doinby to run forwards. You got a quadra kill from Knight in this fight as well, but the reason he gets the quadra is Yoon's pulverizing them, Xiao Ao's flash ulting them into the wall, and the carries of Suning have the easiest job of their life right now in this game.
And again, going back to Rogue Warriors, no tempo picked up in this match. Looking like to be another disaster for them. SMLZ trying to farm top side of the map, still sitting on just the Blade of the Ruined King, waiting to complete his first Zeal item. He's looking across from a 3 completed item Ezreal, and Knight as well, Trinity Force, Rapid Fire Cannon, even that QSS for safety. Now has the package.
They know Knight's there.
Mouse can take quite a bit of damage. Wow, Knight just obliterating him for now. Will get knocked back by the ultimate. Flawless is going to show himself. Mouse is low. Knight gets the solo kill, trying to get out of there. He might just do it. Doinby's trying to wrap around. Knight trying to get out Flawless. He goes for it. He gets the double kill. Outplayed them 3-on-1. Knight, what a god.
And he just gets to walk away. Alistar comes in. The reinforcements are there. Knight is huge right now. 9-0-2 and Suning Gaming off the back of their mid lane to just win everything.
No matter how far ahead you are, you're up against a Kha'Zix on Animal's you get out alive, you get 2 kills. That is a fantastic play from Knight. He's continuing through in the bottom lane. They have the Baron buff to work with. Xiao Ao still on the top side of the map, pushing down top lane outer turret. Tien is in the mid lane, split pushing with super minions where that inhibitor turret has fallen. This is a near flawless game for Suning.
It certainly is. You want 1 kill for Rogue Warriors and they might feel better about themselves, but they've been completely bled out. The gold difference is blown out of proportion here. You're just waiting for the game to end, honestly, but we want to watch Knight. We want to watch him get the 1v2. He's on a ward. Knight doesn't know it. What Knight does know is that he can 1v1 Mouse very successfully. Flawless is meant to have a lot of damage, but he doesn't get straight into the fight, doesn't use the jump. And by the time that happens, Knight's already got 1 kill. QSS jumps away and just sits here with the Gatling gun in the queue. Has no idea where he is, but educated guesses, of course, of an invisible Kha'Zix. He's probably next to me.
Well, getting back into this game, Suning can be able to take down mid lane inhibitor turret. Top lane inhibitor falls. Bottom lane inhibitor is already down. 3 inhibitors are going to fall 23 minutes into this match against Rogue Warriors, and they are already marching towards the Nexus.
With the Baron buff still available, I feel like they're just going to start hitting those turrets, and Rogue Warriors have one last desperation fight in the tank. Now, I don't think it'll win Fish, but they will try.
Oh, it's going to be Suning to try to force first. Tian jumps in, instantly locked down by Doinby. That's not really the target you're going to look for as the Malzahar. Flawless now trying to get him big. Double pulverize coming out from Yoon. Flawless forced to back away. Suning still playing this one nice and safe. Kahlua jumps in, gets the stun onto Yoon. He pops his own ultimate. Tian now charging back in. Fury looking for some extra damage as well. Second Nexus turret is going to fall. Suning already on the Nexus with their super minions. Yoon pops the stopwatch. He may be the first casualty for Suning as he comes back out of stasis. They knock down every single turret inside of Rogue Warriors base, but Rogue Warriors holding on for their dear lives. Mouse gonna try and push forward on top of Knight. He flashes away. Xiao's going over the wall, looking for more. Knight gets the first kill. Doinby takes a chunk of damage. That's a double for the Corki. Kahlua gonna go down. That's the triple. Flawless hops away, gets it to the fountain, jumps back out. Quadra kill picked up as the Nexus falls. Suning take down Rogue Warriors.
Knight was seeing pentakills, but the game ends first, and Suning Gaming just dismantle Rogue Warriors. Not a single sign of life in the system comparatively. I mean, they went down fighting, but it felt like a little kid being held at arm's reach by a full-grown adult in that game. A whole different echelon of play.
Absolutely beautiful coming from Suning in this first match against Rogue Warriors. We already mentioned at the start of this cast, Rusty, what this best-of-3 series means. Suning currently 2-0 in the East Conference, really looking like East Conference contenders. Rogue Warriors, impressive start, however still 1-1. They need this win to not only knock Suning down, but also propel themselves further forward.
And we just saw so many individual great things from Suning Gaming. And once again, when you look at Rogue Warriors as a roster, you say their individual players are highly skilled, but their team cohesion is something that may well be lacking. Well, if they're losing individually, they don't even get a chance to practice team cohesion. And SNG just picked them apart from lane phase, and that just went through to the rest of the game. It carried over, and a super successful game closeout from them with that lead, and that's impressive from SNG.
It was clinical and an absolute shellacking at that from Suning Gaming, able to take down Rogue Warriors in decisive out. Almost a perfect game, Rusty. Besides that really nice turret trade that came out from not only Rogue Warriors, but also Suning Gaming, that 1 kill at the end, unfortunately denying that perfect game, but still a fantastic start for them. And now you've got to look at Rogue Warriors and say, what the heck are they going to do for the rest of this best-of-3?
Yeah, look, I feel like Rogue Warriors are a side that are not unfamiliar with losing. Each individual player has been on teams before. Jing Dong for Doinby. Mouse on EDG has had some very poor moments himself as a player. They're very good at bouncing back is what I'm saying as well. So yes, they're down 0-1. I don't think we'll see a tilted Rogue Warriors by any means in the second game. You just want to see them go back, hit the drawing board, and have the coaching staff talk to them and say, these are the things that we need to fix.
And there you can already see them backstage very vocal about what they're going to do next. But to break down that game and to bring us into the next one, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Thanks, guys. And I'm back at the analyst desk, and I have to give it up. The prophet himself, Raz. You said that individually, pound for pound, Suning were just better players in the Chinese super team. And you were correct. That was a first blood. That was a quadra kill. Suning slaughtered Rogue Warriors.
It was just a matchup of Super Team versus a Super Saiyan team. Take another look at the logo again. That right there is a charged up Suning.
Thank you. Now we have it. It's not an actual fire bear. It's not a lion. It's actually just a bear that has gone Super Saiyan.
Yes.
But I do want to start at this game and the thing that really jumped out to you, which was the Malzahar. It was a Malzahar priority for Rogue Warriors, and you had some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I thought it kind of really told a tale of what Rogue Warriors wanted. We saw them in the Demacia Cup. We saw them earlier on this week. They're a team fighting team, and they really were just centered around these skirmishes, mid-game skirmishes that they really wanted to just focus on.
So what does Malzahar tell you that a team wants?
A team just wants to hopefully get to the level 6, level 7, and just try and get him out of lane to try and roam towards the bottom lane, maybe top side of the map, get control early, and then just try and pick for fights, get vision control, and see if you can find something.
And that's pretty much exactly what happened. Rogue Warriors, they broke the lane phase relatively early, unlocked that Ornn, and then went for a fight or a skirmish in the mid lane. But hold on, before we get to that replay, we do have to give credit to Knight.
Yeah, incredible player, 41% damage coming out of him because once he got to his item break point, he was breaking people.
Quadra kill.
Yeah.
And he was really the big victor of this mid lane fight. You know, 13 minutes into the game, Rogue Warriors, they try to make the play on that Malzahar, and it's Suning Knight that helps pick up all these kills.
Yeah, this is usually when Rogue Warriors should be moving, but they get moved up upon. 2 waves of engage. The first one didn't work out. DoNB pats himself on the back, but then the second one follows through. The most impressive part about this is the disengage coming out of Suning Gaming, recognizing that they don't actually have to take this fight until this point forward when Alistar is like, all right, we can go in. We have our cooldowns ready. Immediate teleport coming in from Xiao, and we just get to see Suning Gaming with proper communication just dismantle Rogue Warriors.
So what happens from that point? If Rogue Warriors, their game plan is we need to take the mid-game fight, they try to go for the mid-game fight and it falls apart, what do?
I mean, hopefully look for the next one. That really is what it comes down to, because even after that lost team fights, theoretically they should be still in a proper position. Corki still needs to get those items ready. That just worked out because of happenstance. Corki shouldn't be strong at that point because he actually built a QSS, which takes a lot of gold just to be defensive there.
Yeah, so the individual talents again, but we do have the rest of those fights because unfortunately for Rogue Warriors, they never really got another chance, and it wasn't Little Al, it was the Big Al.
Not in position. The man is literally Fat Albert. You'll see very soon enough when he gets and sees the play. Boom! That happens twice in this entire game, where Suning Gaming see the play, they're ready for the play, and they act on it. Rogue Warriors made attempts. They saw the Zac trying to charge up for these plays, but they never were really in position or never really saw the play for themselves. Once again, another amazing Xiao moment. The man was a monster here in this game.
And it feels bad. I know that Knight is then going to pick up all of these kills, get the quadra later on, and walk away with man of the match, but it felt like Xiao was really leading the charge there.
Okay, yeah, in the team fights because he's Gnar, but then we got to see an incredible moment from Xiao, or at least Knight in the bottom lane, where he not only gets a pick off of Mouse, but then makes an incredible outplay to get the double kill and walk away from that one. So I thought Knight had his moments as well. It just comes back to the moment where the two now new superstars, I'm just going to throw that word out there, of this split of the LPL, Knight and Xiao are both on Suning Gaming, and we get to see a lot of them going forward.
You're going to automatically tag them with superstars, and then I'm just going to stay Super Saiyans for a little while?
I probably should just call them Super Saiyans for now, just kind of make it safe. A safe call there, but I'm not a safe man. I'm just going straight for it.
That's the first time I've ever heard you say that. Raz, not a safe man, the Super Saiyans, Knight and Xiao to look for. Is there anyone else? Because Fury also got a 1v1 kill on SMLZ of all people.
Yeah, that was great to see. I think it's... At first, I was like, that bottom lane, we don't really need to see that much of it because it should be incredibly safe. But it just looks like the 2v2 is much in favor of the, I guess, stationary. We've seen them from that last year, Yoon and Fury kind of playing with each other for a very long time. We know they're
great, is what you're saying.
Exactly. It seems like the cohesion needs to be there for Killua and SMLZ. Not there just yet.
Excellent. That said, we are going to go ahead and throw it to a break, but we'll be right back with Game 2 between Rogue Warriors and Suning Gaming.